Today's lesson is called Don't Stand So Close to Me. Hello, everyone. My name is Jeff.
My name is Roger, and today we're going to be talking about something called personal space. How close can you get to other people, and how far should you stay apart from people? And this idea varies from country to country. In some countries, it's okay to stand close to people. In other countries, you should probably keep your distance. Keeping your distance is probably more important nowadays because we have the threat of that virus. But in normal times when people don't get sick so easily, maybe you can stand closer to people depending on where you are.
Yeah, these days, personal space, not only are you entitled to it in certain situations, by law, let's say, you have to honor someone's personal space. I believe with social distancing in places like the United States, it might almost be against the law to get too close to a person unnecessarily. Yes, during the lockdown there, personal space was a big issue. Social distancing was extremely important when COVID-19 was raging on there in North America and around the world as well. Anyways, though, today we are talking about personal space. And in Europe, I've heard that the further north you go, the more personal space is required. Yes, in Southern Europe, people are always hugging and kissing. They're very warm. Whereas if you go further north there, people are more reserved and cold and chilly, and personal space is more important. You wouldn't want to get too close to a person in Sweden or Norway or something like that, whereas in Spain or Italy, they might think nothing of giving someone a hug when they've just met them. That's what things are like there. So if you want to think about personal space and how it works, just think about Europe. As you move north, the more personal space is going to be required. Anyways, folks, with that, it's time for us to take a short break, but don't go away. When we come back, we'll start reading from our article on personal space.
Don't stand so close to me. Have you ever felt uncomfortable because someone was standing too close to you? Every one of us has a sense of personal space, an invisible circle around us that we feel no one else should enter. It's fairly rare to have someone invade your personal space in your own country, where a general consensus about what's acceptable is well established. Go abroad, however, and you'll find that people from different countries often have vastly different ideas about personal space than you do.
大家好，第一部分我们看到单字 invade 这个字是动词，指入侵、侵略。例如 When I left some sugar on the table, ants invaded the kitchen. 我把糖留在桌上，招来蚂蚁入侵厨房。或是 The king invaded the neighboring country to steal its resources. 国王侵略邻国以窃取其资源。另外，这个字的字尾加上 r 就成了名词 invader， 指入侵者、侵略者。我们可以说 When the invaders reached the town, the army was waiting for them. 当入侵者抵达镇上，军队已经在等他们了。接下来我们看到名词 consensus 指共识、一致的看法。例如 Today's meeting ended without any consensus. 今天的会议在没有共识的情况下结束。另外补充一个相关片语 reach a consensus 表示达成共识。举例来说 Members of the United Nations finally reached a consensus on the issue. 联合国会员国终于在此议题上达成共识。
Okay, so let's talk more specifically about personal space. But first of all, let's take a look at this title, Don't Stand So Close to Me. And I believe the author is referring to an old song by the band The Police, an old English rock band, The Police. And this song came from the early 80s. Don't stand so close to me. So that was good advice back then. Who knew that that would be good advice for us living in 2020?
Yeah, in 2020, don't stand so close to me, you could get me sick. Maintain a safe distance from me. Make sure social distancing guidelines are followed at all times. So yeah, don't stand so close to others. Don't stand so close to me and make me sick. Anyways, though, some people do have an issue. Even when they are not worried about getting sick, they do have issues with personal space. Take me, for instance. If I don't know you that well, I would prefer that you stay an arm's length away from me, okay? Don't come in for a hug quite yet. Don't invade my personal space. I don't know you. So yes, personal space. For some people, it's important. Now, if you do go to places like Spain or Italy or Argentina or something like that, personal space might mean nothing to people. They're warm and outgoing. They want to shake your hand and give you a hug, maybe give you a kiss. So, hey, personal space is different for different people. So let's figure out how this works the world over. Anyways, let's go ahead and start reading. The first sentence of our article says, have you ever felt uncomfortable because someone was standing too close to you? And yes, I have felt this way.
Now, every one of us has a sense of personal space. And what is that? Well, that is an invisible circle around us that we feel no one else should enter. So if something is invisible, we can't see it. So we kind of have this circle or this bubble around us. And if somebody goes inside that circle or goes inside that bubble, we feel like our personal space is being invaded and we feel uncomfortable as a result.
There you go. Yeah, let's say you're sitting on a bus, you've got your seat, okay, and you think, okay, that seat is my seat. Nobody else can sit on top of me or near me. They can't invade my personal space as far as that's concerned. And then every once in a while, maybe a lady sits down next to you and she's got a big bag and that bag kind of falls into your lap. You go, oh my goodness, how uncomfortable. Yes, that person has invaded your personal space and it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel good at all. Now, does this sort of thing happen all the time? Not really, especially if you're in your home country. Yes, it's fairly rare to have someone invade your personal space in your own country where a general consensus about what's acceptable is well established. So if everyone knows the rules in your home country, if everyone knows the rules as far as personal space is concerned, no one is going to knowingly or willfully violate your personal space.
So it will be fairly rare to have someone invade your personal space here in Taiwan because, again, everybody knows the rules. There might be some differences between different parts of Taiwan. Maybe people are a little closer down south than they are in the north, or maybe there are some difference between east and west, or between Hakka people and Aborigines or whatever. But for the most part, everybody here in Taiwan knows the rules. So yes, indeed, those rules are well established. So again, there's a general consensus, which means a general understanding that everybody has. This is the way it's supposed to be done. These are the rules. Everybody understands that there is a consensus about what's acceptable. Yes, what is acceptable? Standing about 2 feet apart? Yes, that's acceptable. Standing about 6 inches apart? No, that's not acceptable. That's much too close. And these rules are well established, which means they've been set up and they've been around for a long time and everybody knows about them.
So there you go. No one is going to try to enter your personal space when they shouldn't be there. By the way, that's what it means to invade in this particular situation, is you enter a place like someone's personal space. You enter that place without having permission. You might do it forcefully, so on and so forth. You're there, though, and you're not supposed to be there. Anyways, let's go ahead and read the next sentence. It says, go abroad, however, leave your home country, however, and you'll find that people from different countries often have vastly different ideas about personal space than you do.
Yep, go abroad, go to other countries. Go from Taiwan to Thailand, for example, and you'll probably see some differences. Go from Taiwan to Japan or Russia or Canada, for that matter. And yes, you'll find some differences there. And they may have not just small differences, but vast differences. They will have vastly different ideas about personal space. Vastly here is an adverb. It just describes how the ideas that people have are different. So, indeed, they might have really big ideas, vastly different ideas, huge ideas that are different about personal space, and it may take you some time to get used to. Okay, that brings us to the end of the first part of our lesson. Let's now move on to the second part.
A recent study showed that in warmer climates, such as in Southern Europe, Latin America, and the Middle East, people were far more comfortable standing closer to strangers than people from colder climates. Argentinians, for example, are happy to be as close to a stranger as a Canadian would be to a close friend. Scientists aren't really sure why this is, though some speculate that it's because warm weather tends to make people feel more relaxed.
第二部分我们看到一个单字 speculate， 这个字是动词，指推测、猜测。举例来说 Doctors speculated on the cause of the mystery illness. 医生推测这个神秘疾病的病因。或是 Many people are speculating what the upcoming movie is. 很多人在猜即将上映的电影是哪一部。另外补充这个字的名词 speculation, S-P-E-C-U-L-A-T-I-O-N, speculation, 指推测、怀疑。我们可以说There has been a lot of speculation about the crime, but few actual facts are known. 对于那起犯罪有许多推测，但真正的事实却很少。
Okay, during the introduction, I talked about personal space and how if you're in Europe, you can usually figure out how much personal space you'll be guaranteed based on how far or south you are in that particular continent. Yeah, that's a joke that people tell about Europe. Yes, if you're in southern Europe where it's warm, there's no personal space. Whereas if you go further north, yeah, the personal space, those spaces are going to get bigger and bigger. They're going to grow. And apparently, this is actually a real thing. Yeah, it says a recent study showed that in warmer climates, such as in Southern Europe, Latin America, and the Middle East, people were far more comfortable standing closer to strangers than people from colder climates. So this doesn't just go for Europe. Apparently, it's a worldwide thing. And earlier, I also mentioned Argentina. Get this, Argentinians, for example, are happy to be as close to a stranger as a Canadian would be to a close friend. How about that?
Right, so that's South American country, so yes, they like to be close to strangers, but in Canada, not so much. They would only be close to close friends. And scientists aren't really sure why this is, though some speculate that it's because warm weather tends to make people feel more relaxed. Okay, I would have thought that warm weather would cause people to stay farther apart because they'd get hotter if they were closer together, but I guess warm weather might make you feel more relaxed and less uptight about being close to other people. That's a possible explanation. That's what scientists speculate, which means they kind of guess. They're not really sure, but they think that this is the case.
Yeah, they're putting forth a possible explanation, even though they don't know if it's factual or not. Anyways, folks, with that, it's time for us to take another break. But don't go away. When we come back, we'll wrap up the first part of our article on personal space.
These rules about temperature are not absolute, however. Other factors, such as gender and religion, come into play too. In very conservative cultures like in Saudi Arabia, women often keep their distance from both strangers and close friends, despite the fact that it is very hot indeed.
第三部分，我们看到名词 gender， 意思是性别。例如 Sports teams at the school are divided by gender for fairness. 学校的体育队为了公平起见，会照性别分队。或是 Gender differences can make it socially difficult for a woman to do a traditionally male job. 性别差异可能使得女性在社会上难以从事传统男性的工作。再来，我们看到片语 come into play， 表示开始起作用，产生影响。我们可以说All of the soldiers' training came into play when the war started. 当战争开打，士兵接受的所有训练都派上了用场。或是 When an actor is considered for a role, their physical appearance will usually come into play. 演员的外表在选角时通常会成为影响因素。最后我们看到形容词 conservative 指保守的、传统的。举例来说 Although Rachel's family is very conservative, she has different views. 虽然 Rachel 的家人非常保守，但她有不同的见解。或是 My parents have a very conservative attitude when it comes to marriage. 我父母对婚姻抱持非常传统的态度。
Okay, so again, where we left off, we were talking about scientists speculating why people from warmer climates are more comfortable close to strangers and why people in northern climates are not so comfortable being close to strangers. Well, these rules about temperature are not absolute, however. So yeah, they speculated that maybe people are more relaxed in warmer climates than they are in colder climates. So that would be a rule about temperature. Temperature is the degree to which something is cold or hot. A temperature of 37 degrees, for example, here in Taiwan would be very hot, whereas a temperature of 10 would be kind of cold. So, yes, these rules about temperature are not absolute, and absolute means 100%. They're not 100%. There are other factors involved.
There you go. These rules about temperature are not absolute. I.e., these rules do not explain everything. So the hot and cold temperature rule, is it really a rule? Not exactly. Maybe, in general, people from warmer climates are warmer personality-wise, and people from colder climates, they need more personal space. But is that a total rule? Not necessarily. Maybe there are countries where the weather is cold, but the people are warm, and vice versa. So the so-called rule about temperature, well, it's not absolute. It doesn't explain everything. Yes, there are other factors such as gender and religion come into play too. So there you go. Now, here a factor is something that you can use to explain something. It can be a part of something that tells you about that larger thing.
Lots of different factors are involved, such as gender. Are you a boy or a girl? And religion, are you Christian, Buddhist, Hindu, whatever? They all come into play. This phrase, come into play, just means they're all involved. They are things that you need to consider. And in very conservative cultures, like in Saudi Arabia, women often keep their distance from both strangers and close friends, despite the fact that it is very hot indeed. So yeah, we think that people in hot climates would be close together, but Saudi Arabia is a conservative society, so the women will keep their distance from both strangers and close friends. So yeah, that means that we can't really use the temperature explanation to apply to everything. It's not absolute.
Yeah, this is a conservative culture, very traditional, okay? A lot of old-fashioned ideas are still honored there. So, there in Saudi Arabia, even though it might be very hot outside, even though the climate, the temperatures are all hot, the women there are quite chilled or cold when it comes to social interaction. So they might require more social distance, let's say.
So that's a very conservative culture, but again, religion doesn't really have anything to do with it so much, and whether or not you're conservative or open is another factor as well. So yeah, we gave you the example of Saudi Arabia here, and indeed, it's very hot there. Indeed here just emphasizes the fact that it's very hot there. Yes, it's very hot. Oh, yes, it's hot indeed. It is extremely hot today. I guess we better turn on the AC. Okay, that brings us to the end of our explanation for today. Let's listen now to the Chinese teacher.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。在自己的国家，别人侵犯你的个人空间这种事很少见，毕竟在国内大家都有共同普遍的这个共识，知道什么可以接受。课文里面用到一个单字是 consensus。 consensus 它是来自动词 consent C-O-N-S-E-N-T。 好，那我们来学它的字首字根。看到 S-E-N-T 或是 S-E-N-S 或者是拼作 S-E-N-S-E 这一类的字根呢，它带有知觉、 感觉或是认为的意思。那么在 consent 这个字当中，它的字首 con 表示共同，字根 sent 表示感觉。那么对某件事有共同相同的感觉，有共同的看法，应该很容易联想到 consent 它有同意赞成的意思。好，那么名词 consensus 它是指共识一致的看法。我们顺便补充有相同字根的单字。第一个补充的是 dissent D-I-S-S-E-N-T， 那它的字首 D-I-S 表示不同，字根 S-E-N-T 表示感觉认为。好，有不同的感觉，不同的看法，应该可以联想到 dissent 它有不同意的意思。那么它当动词是指公开反对，当名词呢就是指异议，持不同或反对的意见。好，那么第二个补充的单字是 resent R-E-S-E-N-T， 它的字首 R-E 是做强调用，那么字根 S-E-N-T 是感觉，那感受非常强烈，尤其是负面的情绪非常强烈，我们就用这样的方式去联想说 resent 它表示怨恨，感到愤恨，那 resent 是当动词来用。第三个补充的单字是 sentiment S-E-N-T-I-M-E-N-T。 好，它的字根 S-E-N-T 表示感觉， M-E-N-T 是名词字尾，合在一起 sentiment 就表示感想、观点、意见，它也有情绪、心情的意思。后面加上形容词字尾 al 变成 sentimental， 就是形容感性的或是多愁善感的、感伤的。好，课文第二部分最后一句写道，有些科学家猜测温暖的天气常常让人觉得比较放松，那这边用到 tend to 就表示往往会怎么样，经常会怎么样，它是用来表达经常发生的动作或是习惯，那么后面要接原形动词。例如 Bob tends to overeat when he's stressed。Bob 压力大的时候往往会吃过量，会暴饮暴食。那我们顺便补充 tend 的其他用法哦。第一个是 tend to somebody 或者是 tend to something， 是指照顾、照料某人或某事物。这个动词 tend 就有照顾、看顾、管理的意思。例如 Mary is busy tending to her garden。 Mary 正忙着照顾她的花园。那么第二个用法 tend 加上 toward 或者是 towards，加上名词就表示倾向于怎么样，通常具有某种特质。例如 Carol tends toward perfectionism。 Carol 有趋向完美主义的特质，他容易表现出有完美主义的特质。好，以上今天重点整理，我们回顾这些单字吧。
Invade. Locals of the town have complained that tourists invade their beaches every summer. Established.There is an established theory that reading makes you smarter. Vastly. This restaurant is vastly superior to the one we tried yesterday. Temperature. I didn't check the temperature before I went outside and ended up wearing clothes that were too warm. Absolute. My parents were not very strict and gave me absolute freedom to do what I wanted. Factor. Price is not a factor in Stacy's search for a new house. Conservative.Many people from my hometown grew up in very conservative households.
Okay, everyone. With that, today's article is now complete. But, as always, we sure hope that you guys have enjoyed reading along with us. Anyways, I'm Jeff.
I am Roger.
See you next time.